This is Chiming In with Elise and David.
I had a nice time with you yesterday.
Oh, yeah? I had a good time with you, too. We saw Chicago yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
National Broadway tour.
That's right. And I think it's much better to watch it in the afternoon than in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Because I fall asleep if it's too close to bedtime.
Yeah, Papa Dave can't stay awake.
But I thought it was a great show.
It was great. It's always good.
Yeah. Did you have a particular part that you liked better than the
I
other?
mean, I love all that jazz and all the famous songs from it. We've seen it a couple of times, and I didn't. It's been a long time. I didn't really recall every scene. So,
Like a lot of songs in there I really like that I don't remember hearing before.
Yeah. No, it was really good. And then we had an amazing meal at a restaurant for our local friends that I had not known about for some reason. I don't even know how you say it.
Is it Ebo?
No,
What is it?
it's ILO.
Oh, Ilo.
ILO
That was an
Bistro.
L? I thought that was a B in the middle. Yeah, I think it was the cursive that threw me off.
You can't read cursive now? You're like our kids.
I could read cursive. It's just very stylized. I don't know.
It was not. It was just a lowercase ILO. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Norfolk people, you've probably been there. We were probably the last to know.
It was
I think
in the
it's been
place
here
that
a
used
year.
to be Voila. Mm-hmm. So right there off of Brambleton.
Yeah.
Right.
Freemason area.
It was really
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
I loved my drink that I got. It was like a
Okay.
limoncello thing. It was
We
delicious.
also ordered like 45 things off the menu.
Oh
And
my God, I was so full after the
ate
appetizers.
delicious leftovers just now.
So we asked you pod listeners to give us some topics to talk about. And did we get anything from anyone?
Yes, we did. And a lot of them are all around different topics to do with parenting, which you and I have been like, oh, why aren't we talking about parenting?
Yeah, we have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, we have experience, but
We don't know what the
It's a
hell we're
whole
doing
thing.
there, do we?
yeah, so no, we do. I do a lot of research on this, actually.
Okay.
One of our listeners wrote in an email that has, I would say, multiple topics all woven into one. And I'd like to just read the email and then we can break it down.
Okay.
Does that work?
Let's do it.
Because it's pretty multifaceted and deep, I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay. I'll skip over the love part, but they love us.
Why are you going to skip that over that? I want to
Okay,
hear
okay.
about that. Just read the whole thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I love your podcast and your attitude of curiosity, acceptance, and meeting people where they are. Would love to hear your thoughts on extending this concept to when our children get older and begin defining their ambition and life goals, or lack thereof, for themselves. I can only speak for my family, but my husband and I were brought up with very strict expectations of what is considered success and what is not. There was no room for disagreement. Over the years, we have worked on recognizing our kids as individuals and that we need to accept their ideas of what success and happiness will look like for them. For anyone going through this, can you speak about how to normalize this as a part of raising children, how to be okay with our child choosing a life that looks different than what we would choose for them, and maybe even harder, how do we acknowledge and accept their decision-making, yet also insist they must figure out a path towards independence or an end goal when it doesn't always feel like there is the motivation or direction coming from them? And this isn't only about career goals. It can also be in any aspect of their lives. Thanks for the honest and open conversations.
That's a big question.
I just needed to sigh. I am so grateful. That was so courageous, first of all, to write that all out. So we appreciate that. I mean, the thought that went into that.
And it's probably
and
something that a lot of people are thinking of.
So many. Oh my God. But it doesn't feel like there's so many. It always feels like you're alone when you're kind of dealing with those thoughts. first of all, I think that there's multiple topics here, don't
Oh,
you?
yeah. Lots of topics.
And so we'll try to break it down and see where it goes. And I'm keep sighing because I'm so impressed with the amount of self-awareness that came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the writer may not have thought that at the time, but I don't know, maybe they did, but it just feels so like you're onto something. And so yes, I want to talk about all of these things. And I'm not exactly sure where to start. I think that these are all very delicate, handle with care subjects. And maybe we should spend some time taking each of these unpacking this slowly.
Sure. I think it all kind of starts with the fact that we want what's best for our children, right? We want them to succeed, quote, succeed, even though we don't really know what that means. And where does that come from? And it comes from our own experiences growing up. When I grew up, my parents wanted me to have the best education I could, and they wanted me to do something with my life that would make me happy, but also be successful, make money, have a family. Those were the expectations they had. And when I look at my family and I looked at what they had done to get there, I saw a successful attorney. My father was a lawyer, so he went to law school and joined a firm and was able to provide for his family. So I feel like the expectation was that whatever I decided to do, it needed to be at least as successful as that, and maybe even more successful if possible. But I think that there is an expectation for families, for the children to follow in their footsteps or do something
That's
reasonably successful.
at least as successful as the parents. Is
Right.
that what you're saying?
Exactly. Like
I
I
don't know
would
about
have,
that for everyone, but
right.
I can see that for a lot of people. Yes.
I feel like it would have been a disappointment for my parents if I decided to do something that wasn't at least that. Like if I decided, and again, there is nothing wrong with this, but if I decided to work at a restaurant or be a waiter for the rest of my life, I think that there would have been some disappointment there on their from
And do you
them.
think this is great, David? Do you think that the disappointment would have been hypothetically just a financial disappointment, like that, or a stigma, like a judgment on that social setting? I think we've touched on this a couple times, but let's dive in. Do you think that that's what the kind of the disappointment or pain behind that would have been? What if you loved restaurants? What if that was your jam? What if you're like, I can't wait to serve people the food and schmooze with them and bring them, you know, something wonderful. Actually, I could see you doing that. Are you sure? You
No,
sure
man,
you don't want to give that a
that does
try?
sound good, actually.
I know, right? What if that was your like passion? Is
I
so
think that
this is perfect. I
I
know.
think we would have gotten there. I think if that were my passion, I think that they would have seen that in my day to day, and I think that
But
they would have
let's
supported
back
me.
up again. I don't know that you would have felt comfortable saying that.
Well, I mean, I could tell you that I wanted to be an actor, right? So in the real world, I loved acting. We've talked about this on some other podcasts, but I decided I didn't want to go down that road because I felt I would not have been able to support a family and be accustomed to the things that I was used to doing if I had gone down that road, or there was a good likelihood I wouldn't.
So
So,
again,
yeah.
just in your personal story, success equaled financial success.
Well, yes, it was money, and it was also his position as a lawyer was one of respect. People respected him as a professional career that people looked up to as well.
So, could you say that you wouldn't have the same respect for someone in a less educated, let's say, profession or higher level achieving profession.
No,
Is that the right word? I don't know what the
I
right
don't think
word
I
is.
would say that. I
But
just
do you
know,
think
I
that's
just
the
know
stigma?
it was kind of a guarantee. You know, if you go down this road, doctor, lawyer, you will achieve a certain amount of respect from the people around you. And I knew that. I saw that already. I interacted enough with my
So
father at work to see that.
when I go to a restaurant and there's a waiter that is so happy doing what they're doing, and like last night, and they just cannot wait to make your night special or your day special, I have the most respect for that person. And I have no idea. For all I know, they are rolling in the dough, for all I know. And that this is just something they just want to do because they enjoy it so much. Like, I never know what's behind another person. And if they're working there, you can kind of tell if there's someone working in a restaurant that doesn't want to be, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're not really talking about that right this second. Just if that brought you joy, why is that not the best thing?
It is.
Why are you bouncing the idea? Why are any of us bouncing our personal passions off of how it lands on the next person? Is that a good way to say that?
Yes. I think that it is a valid question. I think it's a good observation on your part. And I'm not making any judgment about
I know,
the
I
people
know.
that are working at restaurants. I think it's a great job. And I'm just talking about my own experience. And when the reader or the writer who writes the question talks about their child not meeting their expectations, it just makes me think of that they have a goal in their mind of what they think their child should be achieving. And when the child decides not to go down that road, it is a disappointment on their part. And because children don't often know what they're supposed to, they don't really know what's in store for their future. I can see why and how it is that they think we know better.
Perhaps the rigidity that was mentioned was brought in so it offered like a restraint, like a constraint.
Like guardrails.
Perhaps when we constrain too much in our thought process on what, like you're saying, like your folks maybe presented it, needed to be a certain way. And when that is, this needs to be a certain way, that other isn't an option. It could be an option short term, but it's really not for you. You have to do something bigger and better, right? Because you have so much potential.
Right.
Right? So if I tell you that basically in so many words from, the time you're here, from the time you're born, at some point, if you don't subscribe, if you don't buy into that, if what you think is great isn't what they think is great.
Or you can't. That also is a possibility. You don't have the facility to actually do those things. That can also happen.
What do you mean?
Meaning if you just don't have the aptitude. I mean, there are kids out there that just can't achieve what their parents want them to achieve.
Okay. And so if there are any obstacles, whether you are not interested or not, how do you go deliver that message to your parents who all they do is love you and tell you how proud they are of you? And you're like, well, I don't know what to do now because I'm getting the love and the praise and the proud because of my achievement, and I don't really want to do that.
Right. Yeah. That's a big, I think that's the problem. I think that's the dilemma in this situation. So what's the answer?
So what if it looked different? What if the question is, what lights you up?
Mm.
We just saw that, in our house a couple hours ago. Our future son-in-law was chatting with us, and he was going on about how much golf lights him up.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it was like he had this epiphany, like, why wouldn't I do something in the golf world?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many options, and his head just started spinning with all the options.
And then it wouldn't be work anymore, right?
Exactly. So how is that? He just said that feels like pure success. That's like the most true to himself way he could be. And for a couple of years since we've known him, he's sort of been putting that to the side, like that's not going to really quite cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's been exploring doing other things, not golf, as far as a job goes, career, I think it's afforded him the time to be able to sort out what you want and what he wants and doesn't want.
Mm-hmm.
And where all along it's, I want it to make so much money and support my family, and it's money, money, money. And all along we're like, okay, so money's awesome. And yes, great thing to have a goal. And yes, you can strategize all day on what that looks like. And
Don't forget the
do
happiness
you
part.
love what you're doing? Can you love what you're doing?
Right.
Can you love what you're doing a long time? Or is it just because you want money? So if I look at that and then place that on to some of our other kids who have no idea, what the future really holds, I don't have I do think we might be a little bit of a different opinion than maybe the pod listener writer, because I don't know that I mind letting my kid sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
Try something, doesn't work out. And at the same time, I'm hearing also in the email that what if there's a sense of lack of motivation?
Right.
And when that happens, I do think that a lot of us in this this generation of kids that's what I hear across the board.
Mm-hmm.
is oftentimes coming up. And so what does that look like?
Right. When you have a non-motivated child.
Like, it's one thing for our Gavin, who wants to do something every day. He wants to figure out something different. That is pure motivation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Self-motivation, even if money's the motivator, whatever it is. And he's also figuring out, just as an example, how he best learns, because he mentioned that too. He can't just go like sit in a classroom and really learn. He has to have more of an experience, or hands-on engaged experience, basically, is how he phrased it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he's self-aware enough to know that at such a young age is beautiful. And I wonder if a different expectation or a different conversation would have sort of been forced on him, that he must do it a certain way. He must go to school. He must go to college. He must. And that's not how he works.
Right.
Then
Right.
what would that look like? And he would probably feel unmotivated,
Exactly.
because it would cause a sense of it. The illusion is that he is so good at so many things. I mean, he is so good at math. He is so good at art, and that's an unusual combination, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, oh my God, dude, you could be an architect. You could be all these things. You should go to college. Hello, oh my God, you could make millions. And he's like, I don't want to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fun. That's not success. I don't learn that way. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
I think the reader presents a problem that, the lack of motivation. I guess the question is, what is motivating for this individual? What is it that gives them pleasure? And then how do you match that with something that they could actually earn a living for?
Exactly.
Right? So if you figure out what the non-motivated child, they have to be motivated about something.
Everyone
There
has
has to
an
be
interest.
something that they're interested in. And then the question is, how do you match that with something that's going to make them happy?
What's tricky is I don't think we always have the same interest as our kids,
Right.
right? So they could be interested in something random like how to make a muffler of a car or something, and I'm like, I could give a crap how you make a muffler car. So they could be so interested. That could be their whole life. They want to be the new muffler maker.
Muffler man?
Sorry. Is that even, do we even need those anymore? I
No,
don't know
it's
anything
all
about a
electric
car.
cars now.
Okay, cool.
No mufflers.
No, it's not all electric. Anyways, so how do I communicate? How do I help them? I have no idea. It's like, game over. And it doesn't feel like there's even a chance. And at the same time, I guess I want to empower. Honestly, it's not just our kids. I want to empower everyone to tap into something that they find interesting and that they are motivated. So everyone's, I think, motivated somewhere about something.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you think it's anything, but it's something. I don't know. I see that even in our son, Avi is not sure, for example, what he wants to do next after he graduates high school. That is tricky. Great. We have so many ideas of what he could do. It's a really similar circumstance to what
You gave him a wonderful list.
email said. I have given him a list of things that I have seen him curious
Interested in,
about.
yeah.
Yes, because I think knowing the people in our house, how our kids operate, I think that it's overwhelming. I wish it were just as simple as me saying, listen, you got to do this, you got to do that, and that's how you get success. I wish that worked.
We don't even know the answer to that question.
You're right, but it doesn't work in our house. And I say our house because there's a lot of people that live here. It doesn't work that way. We learned that very much. We learned that when they were like in second grade around here. All of a sudden, it was like, no, you have to do that. No, I certainly do not have to do this. And we're like, what are you talking
Does
about?
not work on our kids at all.
Not at all. So we have done so much work on this, actually.
It's really helped us to be more accepting when we get to this stage, because we know at the end of the day, it is their lives. They have to be happy with themselves. And we can guide them, but we can't tell them what to do.
Well, so here's the fear. The emailer's fear is, what about the side of this that we're working towards independence? How independence and success, of course, kind of have to go hand in hand. And even if it's not the same success you first thought, let's move on from that. Let's just say it's any success, right? Not necessarily career and so on. So just able to function in life and have a quote life outside of your home, being having the ability to be independent.
I mean, I think the first step for that is to have a job, right? You have to be able to earn an income so that you can support
What
yourself.
if you're not motivated to get the job?
Well, I mean, that needs to be a conversation, and you need to unlock the dilemma of what that is. Figure out what that is for this person's motivation. What can they do that's going to make them happy?
So again, how can we meet them where they're at?
Exactly.
Right? So if they show up and they say, all I can do is, I don't like learning in school. I don't like people. I don't want to leave the house. I only like, I don't know, pick something besides mufflers. I only like seashells.
Right.
I only like studying
They can make
seashells.
Seashells.
Oh,
I
here
can't
we go.
even say the word.
Jeez Louise.
Seashell business. Hold on, let me stop.
No, I like it. It's perfect because I'm always the one stumbling on everything I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm the editor, so I should be able to edit that out.
Cute. So let's say it's seashells. So that's special interest, and I want to make a living, and I can't get enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what motivates me. Walking on the beach and picking up shells. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing else in my life is interesting.
All right.
What do you tell me as a parent?
I say good luck.
Bye. No. So
You can move to Sanibel Island in Florida.
oh, they have the best seashells. You're
You
right.
love
Okay.
the seashells
So there you go. You just came up with an idea.
Right.
So you could tell the kid and say, I have a great idea. The best place on the whole East Coast for seashells is Sanibel. So how are you going to get from 4th grade to Sanibel? That is going to be your dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be able to support yourself. And what is that going to look like?
Right.
So that success is not, an architect, and it's not a lawyer, and it's not a veterinarian or whatever. It's not all these other possibilities of something that seem like
Success.
higher incomes, right?
Right.
So is that going to be okay when that is what it's like? We just watched Downton Abbey, right? It's like the class of this higher class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't come from that, it's sort of desirable. That's the goal somehow.
Mm.
But what if that wasn't the goal? What if it was a little different?
Mm-hmm.
And yet the outcome is the same as what we always say. We want the best for our kids.
Right.
But what is the best? The best to the seashell person is freaking seashells, man.
Right.
That's the best.
Exactly.
And they're going to be living the dream, and it has nothing to do with how much is in that bank account, as long as they can support themselves, right? So in that case, I feel like if that was their true passion, you probably could tap into motivation along the way. And maybe even as a young person, they could come up with ideas on how to make a living somehow doing what they love.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more than I can right now without doing any research.
And what is the worst that would happen is if they tried it and they didn't like it, then they think of something else.
Or this isn't the worst that could happen, they may, like many people who have passions in that genre, would need to maybe make a living a little differently. Maybe I do work at the restaurant happily because when I get off work, I'm going to frickin' go out and get seashells.
That's right.
Right. So what amazingness is that? I love that. I don't know that we're always giving ourselves as parents permission to say that's okay. Basically, I think our job isn't to design their dreams, but our job could be to help them build it and build the dream. So to ask what they want and to work really hard on figuring that out, maybe that's the job. And maybe acceptance does not mean no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It means adjust the sails, adjust the strategy, and navigate the waters together. You're not driving their ship.
Yeah, you don't want to drive their ship. You want them to
Do you
figure
drive
it
a
out
ship?
themselves.
What am I saying? Sail their ship?
Steer the
their
ship.
ship.
Steer the ship.
Oh my gosh.
We're doing really well today, aren't we?
God.
I can't say seashells, and you can't say steer the ship.
Don't you have a seashell joke?
Yeah, well, it's not a joke. It's a tongue twister, which is why I can't say it.
I thought there was a joke.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
There you go. I thought
You
there
have
was
to
a
say
joke.
it 10 times really fast.
No, I do not.
Yeah, instead of steering the ship, I think we need to be like the person next to the person steering the ship.
Teach them how to steer and make it feel safe to actually explore. Even if you make a wrong turn, it's okay. That's how you learn.
One of the things I've learned from you in raising our children is that you're always going to be successful when you use collaborative techniques with your children, where you get them to buy into whatever it is that you're talking about. So if it's about their career or their life or whatever it is that you're trying to get them to do, to talk to them in a way that they get to contribute, they get
Right.
to answer
Right.
questions.
So if I take that, thank you. If I take over that conversation, which I've done, it's a knee-jerk reaction.
Right, because we
It's
know everything.
literally how we were all probably raised for the most part.
Well, it's like education, right? You've got a teacher at the
You
front of
just
the
do it.
classroom telling you what you need, spoon feeding you what the information is. So,
Absolutely.
and you as the student listen and you write it down and you get tested on it. So
And
that's the ideal that we've learned.
I think that comes from a place of fear, right? It's kind of this underneath current of everything at that point. So if I can step back and parent from a place that is suggesting that I think the world of you, young child, I think that is brilliant. You are brilliant. And I'm so curious what you want to do or what you think. And when they say, I don't know, rather than that cause me to have, again, more fear, which I admit, then the next thing I say is, well, you better figure it out. You have until the end of this week to let me know. Listen, we've done all of that.
Bad mom.
It's not bad. It's a way that's maybe it worked for somebody. It clearly worked for us. So we tried it down, to pass it down, but it didn't work. And I see it, I would say, time and time again, not work with most of the kids that we know in many families all around. So it's not just our house. It always feels like you're always alone, but it's not. So when they say, I don't know what I want, or maybe they don't even care. I don't care what I do. We hear that too. So what that causes us as people who, quote, know better is we're scared. And we don't want them to live with us forever if that's not the goal. Do we? So
No.
all of this trickles and in the bucket of fear starts dripping.
Fear is all
It's
over
like
it.
they create little holes in the bucket, and now you're taking a shower in fear. You're just freaking scared. And you don't know if you're doing anything right, and you just see everyone else going about their business and becoming their little high achieving selves all around you, and your kid is going, I actually don't know. So what do? That's what I think this email is coming down to. That's the sort of the next part of this.
Well, I think you point out to your child what it is that you think is going to be in their best interest, what it is that, what does the future look like for them if they don't have a clue as to what they want to do, and let them figure out.
Well, they don't have a clue, so I don't know if I agree. I don't agree with that. They don't know how to get to what you just said. It's overwhelm, and therefore it's shut down. It's actual shutdown.
What I'm trying to get them to do is think about it.
They can't. It's overwhelming. Listen, when you sit down to a blank canvas or a blank piece of paper because you decided you felt like you should write, what happens?
You have a mind block and you don't do a thing.
Nothing happens.
Right.
Exactly. And you stare at this freaking blank. All you wanted to do was have time to go paint. And you sit down and you can't paint shit because you don't have any idea what you're supposed to do first. There is no supposed to, by the way.
So what do you do then?
Well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So nobody knows, right? It's very complicated. So every individual is different on how to approach that. And so that could be an inspiration. Oh, I took a screenshot of this painting because I loved the colors, so I'm going to use that at least as my palette. From there, I don't know. When you allow yourself to just paint whatever versus a preset
expectation, design, what you want to do.
it's very hard. Would you agree? I mean, if you don't have an idea before you start, I don't care what you're talking about. If you have a bunch of ingredients and you don't know what you're making for dinner, you better cross your
We've
fingers.
run into that situation a
Yes.
number of times.
But I'm just trying to use anything. You don't have to be an artist or something, or even enjoy art. It doesn't matter what it is. If you don't have already a preset notion, how are you supposed to get there? So that's the fear in us as parents. If the kid doesn't know shit about shit, how are we supposed to get them to go and achieve something?
So maybe then you trick them by saying, well, what do you like to do? And make that the list.
So that is so interesting. So I do subscribe to that. And we talked about that already. But the second part is, what if they don't have that answer? What if they say, well, I mean, I just like picking seashells, but I don't really want to do something with that. You say, okay, well, who knows? Let's try to figure out something else that you like. But the only way you might learn that is by trying something. Let's explore how to figure out what you like. Because I believe that that's often the missing link. So they can't tell you what they like, and they can't go for something because it's, first of all, probably not what you want to hear. And second of all, they can't even see it. It's a blank canvas, and it's scary, and it's weird, and it's udgy and uncomfortable. And so some kids can be kind of forced into choosing, but a lot, we have kids have real trouble making decisions on that. And rather than me try to keep forcing that round peg into a square hole, I'm going to give them opportunities to sort out their opinions. In other words, I have the ability to write to Avi, our son, and say, hey, did you figure out what you're going to, I did this actually for the past 6 months. Hey, are you applying to college? Hey, let's apply. Let's just apply. And then when you figure it out, you'll have an opportunity.
Options.
You'll have options. And I was push. And at some point after one of the college tours, I heard him say loud and clear, I don't know that this is for me. I need to talk to you. I've been scared to talk to you because, not because we're scary, but because I didn't have a plan B, and I really wanted to approach you with a plan B. Well, listen, the fact that my kid could sit in our presence after we just took him on this college tour, right, and say that doesn't appeal to me the way I thought it was going to, the whole thing isn't appealing. And then, which is already mature in my opinion. Okay, so that's an opinion. So we sort of gave him an opportunity to have an opinion.
Right.
Okay, great, normal. And then for him to say, I wasn't even going to be able to say anything because I don't know, I'm at a blank canvas now. If that's off the table, I do not know what is going on. And I was scared to say that. So, okay, we kind of very brave. We swallowed that. We worked through it. And as the weeks were going by, I'm like, okay, deadline this, deadline that. You ready? Let's just apply. Why don't you apply? He slowly but surely started pulling further and further away. He doesn't know. Okay. So I'm watching this, and I feel that scared feeling. I feel that I go from 0 to 100. So when that happens, I immediately have our kid being a bum, doing nothing, living at home, playing video games until he's 95 years old. Okay, so that's ridiculous. So one day I gave him a little break from my harassment, and I said, "Are you motivated? Like, or do you want to do? Like, are you just going to live at home and do nothing?" He's like, "Of course not. I'm trying to figure this out." And it kind of touched. Is that when
you gave him the list of things?
No, and I kind of touched. No, not at all. It touched me because I thought he is trying, but he doesn't even know where to begin. He's at that place, that yucky place where you just don't know, and you need the inspiration, right? So it is up to us, and I don't know that it's going to happen in the exact timing that it happens for the rest of the senior class. They all may be going to college, and I don't even know that he wants what's called a gap year. I don't even know that that sounds good to him. He may apply to a college at a little bit different time, or that may not appeal at all. How does he know? well, he has to just try something, right? That's the only way. And when he tries something, he gets showered with praise for just trying. So I guess right now I'm thinking I pivoted for sure. And I started sending him, instead of me saying, hey, did you study for that exam? Did you do this? I pivoted and I was like, I sent him a text. You are so smart. I am so happy that you only have a few more months left of school. You must be so excited. I am so interested and looking forward to talking with you further about what you've come up with. I'm curious where you're at. And the next time he came around, I said, hey, did you get my, because of course he never answers. Hey, did you get my text? Oh, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I want to look into that. Look into what? Oh, I mean, just, whatever. So at some point that gave me the permission in my mind that I wasn't being too pushy, because that always, in my house, they push back. So I looked up, a community college, and I looked up some classes, and I gave him some lists of, these are really interesting. The list of those classes were very unusual, it ranged from firefighter to interior design, okay? And I gave him this little list, and he's like, yeah, those are really interesting. I was like, can you see yourself doing any of those? He's like, I'm not really sure. I said, what about just taking the class? He's like, yeah, maybe. So the conversation is ongoing. Stay tuned. And it is painful, David, to watch someone not know anything, but also it is imperative that I understand that his timeline is not my timeline or the timeline of society. And that kid is going to do something really interesting, even if I didn't, expect it to look like that.
Right.
I have no idea. When he was younger, he'd sit in the corner and read to himself. So I was like, oh my God, my little boy who just threw himself against the wall over and over again because he thinks it's fun also is balanced, because he comes over here and he sits and reads and whatever. And then he goes out and he plays, drums, and oh, it's so great. He's going to cure cancer, and I don't even know. I just
And be a drummer.
I just had all these thoughts. They weren't like obviously real, but it was just like, oh God, I wonder what he's going to do. He's so smart and he's so cool. And oh my gosh, when he runs so well. Like his body's so balanced. He could be a Olympian. Oh my God. Of course you dream all these dreams, but they're not his.
Right.
They were just mine, like looking and observing and curious. So here we are all these years later. He's not playing drums. He could if he wanted. He doesn't run. He could if he wanted. And we are knowing in our hearts that we want the best for him, but so does he.
Right.
It just looks really, really different than what
it's
we
acceptance.
were taught.
We have to accept.
So much acceptance.
I mean, that's really the key to everything, is acceptance, and try to push the fear away.
And you do. You have to quiet that down for sure, because it's not real. I mean, again, it's not real. Even if he was, he really wanted to work at a grocery store. Do you remember that?
I do.
It was like a year or two ago. I don't know.
The one that was furthest from our house too.
Yeah, because his buddy was working there. So we were like, oh, you need to get a job. You need to get a job, a summer job. So he's like, I want to work at a grocery store. We're like, what? Again, same idea, because why would you want to go do that and make the lowest amount of money when you might be able to work in a little bit of a different setting and make a little more money, whatever that is, or even a restaurant. And he did not want to do that. He wanted to go, for some reason, his friends thought it was cool or something. I don't know what it was. He wanted to go work in the grocery. So he did that for a while, and the outcome is that he's like, that sucked. I hated that. Never doing that again. So we kind of laugh, and we're like, why not? What? And he's like, well, it was, either boring or a lot of work for not a lot of pay. But you wouldn't have known that if you didn't try.
Right.
So I do understand that he is taking maybe a little extra time, and time that makes me twitch sometimes to give him to sort it out.
But it's his life.
It is his life, and it's his journey. And he has no interest in really just sitting around, whatever that looks like. He really doesn't. So it's just a matter of empowering him and telling him, hey, hey guy, we trust that you understand that the goal isn't that we all live together and you kind of sit around and don't contribute to society, yourself, or any other human. So what does that look like? If that were our only expectation, if that's where we just kind of set up life for you, what does that look like? You tell me what that looks like. I don't have any. I am the blank slate. I don't have.
It has to be a collaboration. They
Yeah.
have to be involved. They have to be contributing, and who knows? Who knows what's going to come?
I think by allowing that, the greatest creative expression and the greatest ingenuity comes from that, allowing that those moments to be achieved and expressed.
That's right, and it's our job to be their cheerleaders.
That's it.
Yep.
Hold the space.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard as fuck.
Thank you for making this a adult video, podcast now.
Shit. I feel like
Explicit, that's the word. We have to make it explicit now. Thank you.
does that mean certain people aren't listening to it or something?
No, nobody's listening. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks to our 5 friends.
That's right. Thank you. And if anybody else has other topics, please send us.
Yes, we have a list and it is growing.
Yes.
And we do love receiving emails, or you can make an audio message. So maybe, do we have a way to play that if they did?
Of course. I am very good at this podcasting stuff, so I can
You're awesome.
zip it right in there.
Yeah.
And if this conversation resonated with you or caused you to think of something new that you wanted to add, we would love to hear from you at chimingin911@gmail.com.